The sky turned purple that day. Not the soft purple of sunset, but an angry electric purple that made people stop and stare. Over every major city on Earth, massive ships hung in the air. They were smooth and black, shaped like arrowheads. They made no sound. Commander Ta stood on the roof of the South Korean military headquarters, looking up. His face showed nothing, but inside, his mind raced. "Sir, the president wants you at the emergency meeting," said a young soldier behind him. Ta nodded once. He was not tall, but his presence made people step back. 20 years in special forces had shaped him into a weapon. He moved like a shadow down to the waiting helicopter. Around the world, all normal TV shows stopped. Every screen showed the same message. We are the Vexeri Collective. We come to speak with Earth's leaders. In the United Nations building in New York, representatives from all countries gathered. Fear filled the room. Ta sat with the South Korean group, watching as a large screen showed the arrival of the alien delegates. The Vexeri were tall and thin. Their skin was pale blue with patterns that seemed to shift. They wore armor that glowed from within. 3 of them entered the room, walking with the smooth movements of predators. "We have watched your planet for some time," said the leader. Its voice was clear but strange, like music played slightly wrong. "Your development has been interesting." The UN Secretary General stood. "We welcome you to Earth and hope for peaceful relations." The Vexeri leader made a sound like quiet laughter. "We do not seek relations. We seek to add your world to our collective. You have 2 choices. Join us and live under our protection, or resist and be removed." Gasps filled the room. Ta watched the aliens closely. Their hands rested on weapons at their sides. The devices looked like guns, but with no visible triggers or barrels. "Surely we can discuss terms that would benefit both our peoples," said the Secretary General. "There are no terms. You are technologically capable but physically weak. Your value to the collective is in your creativity and your resources. Your military strength is nothing compared to ours." As if to prove this point, one Vexeri lifted its hand. A small device projected a 3D image of Earth's military bases, every secret installation, every submarine, every hidden bunker was shown in perfect detail. "We have mapped your defenses. We have studied your weapons. We know your strengths and weaknesses better than you do." Ta noticed something interesting. The aliens relied heavily on their technology. Their eyes rarely moved to look directly at anything. Instead, they seemed to read data from displays built into their helmets. "How long do we have to decide?" asked the Chinese representative. 3 of your Earth days," said the Vexeri leader. "We will return for your answer." After the aliens left, panic erupted in the room. Leaders argued about surrender or fighting back. Ta sat quietly, thinking. The South Korean president caught his eye and nodded toward a side door. In a small room away from the chaos, several military leaders from different countries gathered. "We need to know what we're facing," said the American general. "Commander Ta, your assessment." Ta spoke for the first time. His voice was soft but clear. "They are overconfident. They believe their technology makes them superior." "Doesn't it?" asked the British commander. "Technology can fail," said Ta, "and it has blind spots." "What did you notice?" asked his president. "They don't look with their eyes. They trust their machines to see for them." Ta stood straighter. "My unit has been developing techniques to avoid modern detection systems. If their technology works like ours, we might have a way to fight." The room grew quiet as the implications sank in. "You're talking about your ghost program," said the president. Ta nodded. "If we can't match their firepower, we must become what they cannot see." The world leaders looked at each other. Hope was dangerous, but it was all they had. "You have 3 days," said the American general. "Show us what you can do." As Ta left the meeting, he looked again at the purple sky. The Vexeri thought humans were weak. They would learn their mistake. The underground base hummed with activity. Ta walked through sliding doors into a large room where maps and screens covered the walls. His second-in-command, Jai-Ho, stood studying data from the alien ships. "You saw them?" Jai-Ho asked. He was shorter than Ta, with quick eyes and hands that never seemed to rest. "Yes, they are advanced, but not perfect." Ta placed his hand on a scanner, and a hidden door opened. "Show me our progress." The two men entered a special training room. The walls were black, and strange patterns covered the floor. 5 soldiers moved silently through the room, wearing dark suits with odd textures. Cameras and sensors tracked them, but on the monitoring screens, they appeared as blurs or sometimes disappeared completely. "The ghost techniques are working against our best sensors," said Jai-Ho. "But will they work against alien technology?" Ta nodded. "We need to find out. The Vexeri will meet with world leaders again tomorrow. We need someone inside their ship." "Su Min," they said together. Su Min was the best infiltration specialist in Asia. She could move through high-security buildings without being seen or setting off alarms. No one knew exactly how she did it. An hour later, Su Min sat across from Ta. Her face was calm, her posture perfect. "You want me to sneak onto an alien ship?" she asked. Her voice showed no fear, only interest. "Yes, we need to know how their sensors work. Can they see what our technology cannot see?" Ta showed her a small device. "This will record their detection systems." Su Min took the device. "If I can get close to them, I can do this." "It will be dangerous," Jai-Ho warned. Su Min smiled slightly. "Life is dangerous. This is just more interesting." The next day, world leaders gathered again to meet the Vexeri. This time, Su Min was part of the Korean delegation, dressed as a junior aide. Todd watched from a security post. When the aliens arrived, their ship landed on the human building's special pad. As delegates were invited aboard for talks, Su Min stayed near the back of the group. She wore a special suit under her clothes. It was made of materials that scattered light and absorbed heat. Inside the ship, the delegates were shown to a meeting room. As talks began, Su Min quietly slipped away during a moment of confusion. She moved exactly as she had been trained, never in straight lines, using the shadows, matching her movements to the ship's soft vibrations. The aliens' corridors were curved, with lights that pulsed gently. Su Min placed small sensors at key points. She noticed the aliens wore helmets with glowing displays inside. Their weapons had no triggers, just smooth surfaces that responded to their touch. Most importantly, she saw how they moved. They were confident, never looking around corners or checking dark spaces. They trusted their technology completely. Su Min made her way to what seemed to be a control room. She placed the final sensor and took quick pictures with a special camera. Then she froze. An alien stood in the doorway, looking straight at her. But it did not react. It walked to a control panel, passing within arm's reach of her. Su Min hardly breathed. The alien worked for a minute, then left. It had not seen her. She slipped back to the meeting room just as talks were ending. When the delegation returned to Earth, Tai was waiting. "Did you place the sensors?" he asked quietly. Su Min handed him the camera. "Yes, and I learned something important. Their helmets show them everything. Heat, movement, even sounds. But they didn't see me." Tai's eyes widened slightly. "You're certain?" "One looked right at me. Nothing." Back at the base, Jai-Ho analyzed the data from the sensors. His hands moved quickly over the computers. Finally, he looked up with a rare smile. "Their sensors are good, but they have gaps. They don't detect certain materials we use in our ghost suits, and they miss specific patterns of movement." Ta nodded. "So we can be invisible to them." "Not just invisible," Jai-Ho said. "We can be ghosts, walking right through their defenses." "Then we need to teach others," said Ta. "Call every special forces unit that has trained with us. Tell them to bring their best." Su Min stood by the door. "The Vexeri think we are weak. but they don't know what humans can do when we must survive. Ta looked at his team. They will learn. 1 week after the Vexari gave their ultimatum, a secret meeting took place deep beneath Seoul. The room was large, carved from solid rock. Men and women in different military uniforms sat around a U-shaped table. They came from 20 countries, all top special forces. Ta stood at the front of the room. Thank you for coming. Time is short, so I will be direct. The Vexari believe they can see everything. They are wrong. He nodded to Jaiho, who pressed a button. The lights dimmed. A video played, showing Sumin's walk through the alien ship. The soldiers watched with wide eyes. This is not a trick, Ta said. Our agent walked past 3 aliens. They did not see her. A Russian commander raised his hand. How is this possible? Ta pointed to a table covered with equipment. We call it the Ghost Program. For 5 years, we have developed ways to avoid modern detection. Now, we will teach you. Jaiho stepped forward. Their technology has weaknesses. They don't detect certain materials. He held up a dark fabric. This cloth absorbs heat and scatters light in ways their sensors cannot process. A British officer frowned. Just special clothing. That's your plan? No, said Ta. The clothing is just one part. The most important part is how we move. Sumin entered the room. She wore the special suit and carried no weapons. On the other side of the room, a set of sensors similar to those from the alien ship were active. Watch the screen, said Jaiho. On the monitor, they could see the room, but not Sumin. She moved in a strange way, never taking direct paths, staying low at times, flowing like water. Ancient ninja used these techniques, explained Ta. They knew how to use shadows, how to move with nature, how to become invisible by understanding how people see. We have updated these methods to work against technology. The room was silent as Sumin moved past the sensors without triggering any alerts. This is why you are here, said Ta. Each of you leads your country's best stealth units. You must learn these techniques, then teach your teams. A woman stood up from the American delegation. I have a question. She was tall with sharp eyes. I'm Colonel Parker. My team specializes in cyber warfare. Can we attack their systems? Jaiho shook his head. Their technology is too different. But perhaps we can work together on a combined approach. Tai introduced a 4th person who had been sitting quietly in the corner. This is Hana. She leads our tactical development. Hana was small with short hair and intense eyes. She spoke clearly. We need to combine old ways with new technology. The Vexari expect us to fight like we always have, with guns and missiles. But we will fight like shadows. She turned on a large screen showing training plans. Each of you will spend 2 weeks here learning ghost techniques. Then you return home to train others. We need at least 500 ghost soldiers ready within 1 month. What if the Vexari attack before then? Asked a Canadian officer. We stall them, said Ta. Our governments pretend to negotiate while we prepare. Hannah stepped forward. Today we start with basic movement, then special materials, then weapons. What weapons work against them? Asked a French commander. Jaiho smiled slightly and opened a case. Inside were strange-looking tools. Curved blades, thin wires, small darts. Traditional weapons, modified with new materials. Weapons that make no heat, no sound, no electronic signature. Like ninjas, someone said. Yes, agreed Ta. The Vexari rely on advanced technology. We will use techniques from when humans had no technology. Earth's ninjas against space invaders, Colonel Parker said with a small smile. Can this really work? Sumin had moved beside her without anyone noticing. It already has. She held up Colonel Parker's watch, which she had taken without the American noticing. The room erupted in surprised laughter, then quickly turned serious again. We begin now, said Ta. The future of Earth depends on what happens in this room. As the training began, Ta watched the soldiers try to copy Sumin's movements. They were clumsy at first, but they were the best Earth had. They would learn. They had to. The Vexeri were not patient aliens. After 3 weeks of talks that went nowhere, they decided to show Earth their power. At dawn, their ships appeared over a military base in Australia. Blue lights flashed, and buildings exploded. Soldiers ran for cover as strange weapons turned tanks into melted metal. The attack lasted 10 minutes. When it ended, the base was destroyed. You see now what happens to those who delay. The Vexeri leader announced on all TV channels. We want your answer tomorrow. No more waiting. In the underground base in Seoul, Tai watched the message with his team. We're not ready, said Jai-ho. We need more time. Hana shook her head. We don't have more time. We must act now. Ta looked at the map on the wall. Red dots showed where Vexeri ships hovered over Earth. One dot blinked, a scout ship that had landed in a remote area to collect samples. There, said Tai, pointing. We start there. 2 hours later, Tai and Su-min led a team of 12 soldiers through dark woods. Each wore the special ghost suit and carried modified weapons. They moved like shadows, feet silent on the ground. The Vexeri scout ship sat in a clearing. It glowed softly with blue light. 2 aliens stood outside, scanning the area with hand devices. Remember your training, Ta whispered to his team. Move between sensor suites. Never in straight lines. Stay in the blind spots. Su-min went first. She flowed from shadow to shadow, moving when the aliens looked away. The team followed one by one. They'd reached the edge of the clearing without being seen. Now we test if their ship sensors are the same as their personal ones, said Ta. Jai-ho had given them special patches that would disrupt electronic fields. Su-min placed one on the ground and activated it. The ship's lights flickered briefly. Move, ordered Ta. The team raced across the open space. The aliens turned, finally seeing the humans. One raised its weapon, but too late. Tai threw a small dart that stuck in the alien's neck. The Vexeri fell without a sound. The second alien fired its weapon, but the shot went wild. 3 more darts found their target. 6 minutes until they check in, said Su-min, who had studied their patterns. The team entered the ship. Inside, 3 more Vexeri worked at control panels. They never had a chance to sound an alarm. The silent darts put them to sleep instantly. Secure the ship, ordered Ta. Sam, Jin, checked their systems. Sam and Jin were computer experts. They connected devices to the alien controls and began downloading data. This is amazing, said Sam. Their star maps, their fleet positions. It's all here. Su-min found the ship's communication system. Should we disable it? No, said Ta. They must not know what we can do. Make it look like an accident. The team placed small explosives in key areas. They took weapons, data devices, and a sample of the ship's hull material. 5 minutes after entering, they were gone. From a safe distance, they watched as the charges detonated. The ship didn't explode in a fireball like in movies. Instead, its power systems failed in a cascade. Blue lights flickered and died. The ship slumped to one side as if tired. Will they die? Asked one of the team. No, said Ta. The life support has backup power. They will sleep until their friends find them. Back at the base, the team's success caused excitement. Ji-ho examined the alien weapons with gleeful interest. Hannah studied the data from the ship's computers. This changes everything, she said. We now know their fleet positions and patrol patterns. And look at this. She pointed to a map showing Vexeri ship movements. Their main command vessel stays in high orbit. They think it's safe there. Is it? Asked Ta. Hana smiled. Her smile was not friendly. No place is safe from ghosts. On the main news that night, the Vexeri announced that a scout ship had experienced technical difficulties. They blamed Earth's atmosphere. They did not mention the missing weapons or data. They did not know yet what had been taken. Tai watched the announcement and nodded to his team. Now they will learn what humans can do when pushed too far. Around the world, more teams were training. Earth's ninjas were ready to fight back. The Vexari response came at midnight. 20 ships moved into low orbit and fired blue beams at military bases around the world. Buildings exploded. Runways melted. In 6 minutes, 30 bases were destroyed. No one died. The bases had been emptied days ago, after Ta's team stole the attack plans from the scout ship. "They are angry," said Hana, watching satellite images of the destruction. Ta nodded. "Good. Angry enemies make mistakes." In public, world leaders acted afraid. They sent messages to the Vexari, asking for more time. In private, they gave full support to the Shadow Protocol. Special forces from every major country now trained in ghost techniques. Jai-Ho worked day and night in his lab. The alien weapons they had captured gave him new ideas. "Look at this," he told Ta. He held up what looked like an old-fashioned throwing star, but made of strange dark material. "It disrupts their shield technology on contact." And this. He showed a thin wire with small hooks. "It can cut through their armor, but doesn't show up on their sensors." "Ancient weapons, modern materials," said Ta. "Perfect for our needs." The training base had expanded. 500 soldiers now practiced ghost techniques in huge underground rooms. They learned to move like shadows and use the special weapons. They studied Vexari weak points using data from the captured ship. Colonel Parker from the American team approached Ta. "We're ready for the next step." Ta looked at the map. Red dots showed Vexari ships in orbit. One larger dot showed their command ship. "We need to hit them where they don't expect," he said. "Here." He pointed to a spot over the Pacific Ocean. "Their ships drop to lower orbit here to scan deep ocean life. The sensors point down, not around." "Space ninjas." Colonel Parker raised an eyebrow. "That's a new one." "We have modified spacesuits," explained Ta. "The material blocks their sensors. We can approach from above while they look down." The mission launched the next day. A normal-looking weather rocket carried Ta and 5 others high into the atmosphere. At the right moment, they jumped out, wearing the special spacesuits. They fell silently toward a Vexari ship scanning the ocean below. Their suits had small thrusters that let them steer as they fell. They landed on the top of the ship, in a blind spot the data showed was not covered by sensors. Magnetic boots kept them from floating away. "Move exactly as we practiced," Ta said through the radio. "Remember, in space, even the smallest wrong move can set off their alarms." They found an access panel and attached a device Jai-Ho had made. It cut through the hull without heat or sound. One by one, they slipped inside the ship. The Vexari never knew they were there. Ta's team moved through the corridors, placing small devices on key systems. These were not bombs. They were something more clever, bugs that would send data back to Earth and cause small random equipment failures that would look like normal problems. One alien almost saw them. It walked into a room where 2 team members were placing a bug. But the ghost suits worked. The alien looked right at them, but saw nothing. It walked away, confused by some feeling that something was wrong. When they finished, they left the same way they came in. Their pickup shuttle collected them 2 hours later, disguised as space debris. Back on Earth, Hannah smiled as data began flowing in from their bugs. "We can see everything they do now," she said. "Their communications, their plans, their fleet movements." Su Min pointed to one message that appeared on the screen. "Look at this. They're calling in reinforcements. A major landing force is coming." "How long?" asked Ta. 5 days, said Hana. "They plan to land troops and take control of major cities." Jai-Ho looked worried. "We're not ready for a full invasion." "No," agreed Ta. "But now we know where they will land." He turned to the gathered team leaders. "Prepare your units. The real fight is about to begin." Around the world, Earth's ninjas checked their weapons and practiced their moves. The Vexari thought they were coming to conquer. They were coming to learn a hard lesson instead. The sky filled with Vexeri ships on the fifth day. Hundreds of them, big and small, moved into position above major cities. The main landing force had arrived. In the command center beneath Seoul, Todd watched the screens with his team. The bugs they had planted sent back a steady stream of information. They could see the Vexeri battle plans, hear their communications, and track their movements. "They will land in 1 hour," said Hana, reading the data. "Troops will secure government buildings first, then communication centers." Jaiho pointed to a large red dot on the map. "Their flagship has moved into lower orbit. Fleet Commander Vor is directing everything from there." Su-min, who had been studying the flagship's schematics from the stolen data, looked up. "I found something interesting." She pulled up an image on the main screen. "Their command ships have a central network hub. All orders pass through it." "Can we shut it down?" asked Colonel Parker. "Maybe," said Su-min, "but we would need to be inside the ship." The room went quiet. Everyone knew what that meant. A mission into the heart of the enemy command. "Impossible," said Jaiho. "Their flagship has the best security, and it's in space." Tai studied the schematics. "Nothing is impossible. Show me the sensor coverage." Su-min displayed another image. "They have full sensor suites here, here, and here." She pointed to different areas. "But there's a maintenance board on the underside. The sensors there are weaker because it faces Earth, and they're worried about interference." "So we could enter there?" Tai asked. "In theory," said Su-min, "but we would need a ship that can get close without being detected." "We have one," said Colonel Parker. "We captured a Vexeri shuttle intact 3 days ago. My team has been studying it." Ta nodded. "Then we have a way in." "This is crazy," said Jaiho. "Even if we get inside, how do we reach the network hub?" "It's deep inside the ship." "The same way we always do," Ta said simply. "By being ghosts." As they made plans, the first Vexeri troops landed on Earth. They moved with military precision, securing targets with their advanced weapons. But in shadow-filled alleys and dark corners, Earth's ninjas waited. In New York, 10 Vexeri soldiers entered a communications building. Only 2 came out. In London, a patrol disappeared near Trafalgar Square. In Tokyo, weapons were stolen from a landed ship. Small strikes, but enough to cause confusion. The Vexeri commanders called for status reports that never came. They sent more troops to investigate, who also vanished. Fleet Commander Vor grew angry. He ordered more ships to land, more troops to deploy. "They're getting frustrated," said Hana, listening to the communications. "They don't understand why their soldiers keep disappearing." "Good," said Ta. "But these small attacks won't stop them. We need to cut off the head." He selected a small team, himself, Su-min, Jaiho, and 3 others who were best at ghost techniques. They prepared their equipment, space-adapted ghost suits, special weapons that would work in zero gravity, and devices to disrupt the flagship systems. Just before they left, Hana stopped them. "I found something else in the data." Her face was serious. "The Vexeri brought a weapon they call the pacifier. It can shut down electrical systems across an entire continent." "When will they use it?" asked Ta. "Tomorrow," said Hana, "once they secure their landing zones." Ta looked at his team. "Then we go now." The captured shuttle rose into the night sky. From the outside, it looked like any Vexeri ship returning to the fleet. Inside, 6 humans in ghost suits checked their equipment one last time. "Remember," said Ta, "move between sensor suites. Stay in blind spots. No straight lines." "Just like ninja training," said Su-min with a small smile. "But in space," added Jaiho. He didn't smile. The shuttle approached the massive flagship. It hung in orbit like a dark mountain. Thousands of Vexeri moved inside it, directing the invasion of Earth. None of them knew that 6 humans were about to enter their stronghold. 6 humans who could not be seen. 6 humans who would change the course of the war. "Ready?" asked Ta. His team nodded. Then let's show them how Earth fights back. The shuttle docked with the Vexari flagship without raising any alarms. The stolen access codes worked perfectly. As the airlock opened, Ty and his team activated their ghost suits. The special fabric adjusted to the ship's environment, bending light and absorbing heat. Remember, move only during sensor sweeps, Ta whispered. They happen every 12 seconds. Count in your head. They slipped from the shuttle into a large cargo bay. Dozens of Vexari moved around, checking supplies and weapons. None noticed the 6 humans moving like shadows along the walls. The network hub is 17 levels up, said Sumin softly. She had memorized the ship's layout. This way. They found a maintenance shaft that ran between the main corridors. It was tight and dark, perfect for their needs. They climbed silently, counting seconds, freezing whenever they heard movement nearby. On level 12, they hit a problem. The shaft was blocked by a repair crew. 3 Vexari worked on exposed wiring, their tools making soft buzzing sounds. We need another way, whispered Jai-Ho. Tad looked at the ship schematics on his wrist device. No time. We go through the main corridor. The main corridor was brightly lit and busy. Vexari officers hurried back and forth, checking data on their helmet displays. The humans waited for the right moment, then moved in perfect unison. They flowed between the aliens, never touching them, staying in blind spots, moving only when the aliens looked away. A junior Vexari officer stopped suddenly, sensing something wrong. It looked around, confused. Sumin froze less than an arm's length away. The officer's hand moved toward its weapon. Jai-Ho released a tiny device that skittered across the floor. It made a soft click. The officer turned toward the sound, then continued walking. The team moved on. On level 15, they encountered a security checkpoint. 2 guards stood before a sealed door, weapons ready. Now what? Whispered one of the team. Todd pointed to a ceiling panel. Above. They climbed into the ceiling space. Jai-Ho used a special tool to cut through the thin metal without making noise. They crawled through the tight space until they were past the checkpoint. Level 17 was quieter. This high in the ship, only senior officers and technicians were allowed. The network hub was behind a large door with strange symbols. How do we get in? Asked Jai-Ho. It needs Vexari DNA to open. Sumin smiled and held up a small vial. I collected a sample from their shuttle. She applied the liquid to the sensor pad. The door hissed open. Inside, the network hub hummed with power. Blue lights pulsed along the walls. In the center stood a column of swirling energy, the main computer core that controlled all ship functions. I need 3 minutes, said Jai-Ho, pulling out his equipment. He connected a small device to the base of the column. This will give us control of their systems and disable the pacifier. Work fast, said Ta. He could hear alarms starting to sound in distant parts of the ship. They know something is wrong. Jai-Ho's fingers moved quickly over his device. Almost there. The door to the hub suddenly opened. A tall Vexari in ornate armor stood there, flanked by 4 guards. Unlike the others, this one wore no helmet. Its eyes were sharp and cold. It looked directly at the humans. I can see you, it said in a voice like ice. Your primitive cloaking does not work on me. It was Fleet Commander Vor. How? Asked Sumin, shocked. Your technology tricks sensors, said Vor. But I was born with natural hunting eyes. My ancestors tracked prey across endless plains before we had technology. He drew a curved blade from his belt. As did yours, I think. The guards raised their weapons, but Vor held up his hand. No, they came to fight me. I will honor them with proper combat. Ta stepped forward, removing his hood. Jai-Ho, keep working. We'll handle this. Vor smiled, showing sharp teeth. You think you can beat me, human. I have killed beings from 100 worlds. Maybe, said Tai, drawing his own blade. A modernized Hanto knife. But none of them were from Earth. The guards formed a circle around them. Vor lunged with shocking speed. The final battle for the ship, and possibly Earth, had begun. Vor moved like lightning. His blade sliced the air where Ta had been a second before. Ta rolled away, feeling the wind of the blade pass his face. The Vexeri commander was faster and stronger than any human. But Ta had not come unprepared. "You move well, human," said Vor, circling slowly, "but you cannot win. My species has fought wars for 10,000 years. We've been fighting since we could pick up sticks," replied Ta calmly. He held his tanto knife low, watching Vor's eyes, not his blade. Behind them, Jai-Ho worked frantically on the network hub. Su-Min and the others formed a protective circle around him, facing the Vexeri guards who watched with weapons ready. Vor attacked again, his movements a blur. This time, Ta didn't dodge. He stepped into the attack, moving at the last possible moment. His tanto slid along Vor's arm, drawing blue blood. The Vexeri commander looked shocked. "You cut me." "First rule of Earth combat," said Ta. "Don't fight force with force." Vor roared and attacked with full strength. His blade smashed into a control panel where Ta had been standing. Sparks flew. The human was moving differently now. Short, quick movements, always to the side, never back. "Stand still and fight," shouted Vor in frustration. "Second rule," said Ta. "Never do what your enemy wants." Meanwhile, Jai-Ho had finished connecting his device to the network hub. "I need 1 more minute," he whispered to Su-Min. "Hurry," she replied. The guards were growing restless, shifting their weight, fingers moving toward trigger buttons. Vor changed tactics. He began copying Ta's movements, becoming more controlled. His eyes never left the human. "I learn quickly, Earthman." "So do we," said Ta. He threw something small and dark at Vor's feet. The object burst into thick smoke. Vor swung his blade through it, hitting nothing. When the smoke cleared, Ta was gone. "Coward," shouted Vor. "Face me." "Up here," said Ta quietly. Vor looked up. Ta hung from a ceiling pipe, his legs wrapped around it. Before Vor could react, Ta dropped, his tanto aimed at the Vexeri's shoulder joint, a weak point they had learned from the stolen data. The blade sank deep. Vor screamed in pain and anger. His free hand grabbed Ta's throat and lifted him off the ground. "Now you die," growled the Vexeri. "Third rule," gasped Ta, his face turning red. "Never fight alone." A thin wire wrapped around Vor's neck from behind. Su-Min pulled it tight, forcing the commander to release Ta. As Ta fell to his knees, gasping for air, Jai-Ho called out, "It's done." The ship's lights flickered. The energy column in the center of the room changed from blue to green. On screens around the room, data streamed in a new pattern. "What have you done?" demanded Vor, still struggling with the wire around his neck. "Taken control of your fleet's targeting systems," said Jai-Ho. He held up his device, now blinking with green lights. "All your weapons are now offline." Vor laughed, a harsh sound. "Fool. The backup systems will activate in minutes." "We know," said Ta, standing up. "We're not trying to win the war with one strike. We just need to show you something." He nodded to Jai-Ho, who pressed a button on his device. The main screen in the room changed to show Earth. All across the planet, Vexeri troops were being ambushed by ghost-suited soldiers they couldn't see. Ships were being sabotaged. Weapons were failing. "Impossible," whispered Vor. "You relied too much on your technology," said Ta. "You forgot the most basic rule of combat. Know your enemy." The ship shuddered as explosions began in distant sections. Alert signals blared. "Time to go," said Su-Min, releasing Vor. The wire had left a deep mark on his neck. "This isn't over," said the Vexeri commander, holding his wounded shoulder. "No," agreed Ta. "But the rules have changed." He looked at his team. "Let's move." They slipped away, becoming ghosts once more. As they ran toward their shuttle, The flagship systems fell into chaos around them. On Earth, the real counterattack had begun. The humans had shown the Vexari their true strength. Not technology, but the will to adapt and survive. The battle was far from over, but for the first time, the aliens felt fear. 3 days after the attack on the flagship, the Vexari fleet hung motionless in orbit. Their landing forces had pulled back, retreating to their ships. The attacks from Earth's ghost soldiers had caused too much damage, too much confusion. In the command center beneath Seoul, Tai and his team watched the screens showing the alien ships. "They haven't left," said Jaiho, "but they haven't attacked again either." Hana pointed to new data coming in from their monitoring systems. "Look at this. They're talking among themselves. The ship captains are arguing with Fleet Commander Vor." "About what?" asked Ta. "Whether to continue the invasion," said Hana with a small smile. "Many want to retreat." A message appeared on all communication channels worldwide. The Vexari requested a meeting, not with all world leaders this time, but with the humans who had infiltrated their flagship. "It's a trap," said Jeho immediately. "Perhaps," said Ta, "but we should hear what they have to say." The meeting was set for neutral ground, a small island in the Pacific Ocean. Ta, Sumin, Jaiho, and Hana arrived by helicopter. They wore their ghost suits underneath normal clothes. They carried hidden weapons. The Vexari shuttle landed smoothly on the beach. Fleet Commander Vor stepped out, his arm still bandaged where Ta had stabbed him. He was accompanied by 2 other Vexari wearing the marks of ship captains. "Commander Ta," said Vor, nodding his head slightly. It was the first time he had used Ta's name or title. "Commander Vor," replied Ta with the same small nod. "Your people have fought unexpectedly well," said Vor. The words seemed difficult for him to say. "We fight to survive," said Ta simply. Vor looked at the ocean for a long moment. "In 500 years of expansion, the collective has never faced a species like yours. You are technologically inferior, yet you found ways to overcome our advantages." "Technology isn't everything," said Sumin. One of the Vexari captains stepped forward. "We have studied your methods. You combined ancient techniques with modern materials. You adapted instead of just using force." "That is the human way," said Ta. Vor looked uncomfortable, but continued. "The Collective Council has reviewed the situation. They are impressed. They have authorized me to offer new terms." "What terms?" asked Hana, suspicious. "A true alliance," said Vor, "not subjugation. Exchange of knowledge and technology. Mutual defense." The humans looked at each other, surprised. "Why the change?" asked Jaiho. The second Vexari captain answered. "The collective expands by adding strength. Your people have shown unexpected strength, different from ours, but valuable." Tai studied the aliens carefully. "And if we refuse?" Vor's face tightened. "Then we would be ordered to continue the war. We would eventually win through sheer numbers, but the cost would be high for both sides." "You're not certain you would win," said Sumin, watching Vor's reaction. The commander's eyes flashed, but he nodded slightly. "The outcome has become less predictable." Tai thought for a moment, then spoke. "We will bring your offer to our leaders. But know this, Earth will never accept any terms that make us less than equals." "Understood," said Vor. "The offer is for true alliance, nothing less." As the meeting ended, Vor hesitated, then held out his hand in the human manner. "Your blade technique, it was effective. Perhaps there are things we can learn from each other." Ta shook the alien's hand carefully. "Perhaps there are." 1 month later, the treaty was signed. The Vexari ships remained in orbit, but as allies now, not invaders. Earth gained access to space technology. The Vexari learned about human adaptability and creativity. The ghost soldiers became the foundation for Earth's new space defense force. Tai, Sumin, Jaiho, and Hana were honored as heroes worldwide. Their training methods spread to create a new kind of soldier, one who could match advanced technology with human ingenuity. In his private office, Ta looked at a gift from Commander Vor, a Vexari blade mounted next to his Tanto knife. Different weapons from different worlds. Both deadly, both respected. "You can't shoot what you can't see," Ta said softly to himself, remembering the old ninja saying. But sometimes, being seen is how you make peace. Earth had earned its place among the stars not by having the most advanced technology, but by remembering the oldest human skills. To adapt, to improvise, and to overcome. The universe would never be the same again.